Now, legendary musician Sibongile Khumalo passed away earlier in the week. She was a person whose music was loved all over the world, whom so many people looked up to and took inspiration from. She was born in Orlando West in Soweto in 1957 and was surrounded by music from a very young age. Her vocal range was absolutely phenomenally, dabbling in many genres such as traditional, choral, jazz and opera music. Her last album was titled Breath of Life, released in 2016. We continue to celebrate her, and joining us now is Siphiwe Mhlambi, a renowned photographer who was behind so many pictures he took of her. Siphiwe, a very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us and warm welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you so much.
You have known Mam Sibongile Khumalo for so many years. Take us through the very first time you met her.
That's a while ago. I was still a junior reporter, a photographer at Drum Magazine. This is around 1991, 92. Okay. We went to interview her at Funda Center with then Liz Khumalo, who was still a writer at Drum,
okay,
and also happens to be my mother. And they used to call each other Kazi and all of that. Somehow there was some sort of an acceptance from her to sort of, gain liking on you. I suppose she had also had a son, Utepo. And then somehow she felt like, okay, I like this guy, I really need to know what you do. And then, and she already knew my work by that time. So I also started to following myself. And this is around the same time when I was already collecting jazz music, photographing jazz, documenting jazz across the country. And I gained that interest on her because I just liked her. And then she seems like a very nice person, and she still is up to today.
Yeah, and you've taken so many photos of her. Take us through some of the most memorable moments that you shared with her behind the lens.
It's quite a lot. Sibongile takes everything serious that she does. And you see when she's on stage, she's prepared to do the performance. When you take this kind of images, you need to have a connection with your subject, with the artist that you're working on. If there's that resistance, you might not be able to get your work the way you want to. But Sibongile was very welcoming. She understood that I was still a junior. I was sort of finding my way in a grip. But she sort of helped you, and then she was very welcoming. She was kind, and she was nice. And then she'll ask you questions. Oh, okay, how long you been working for Drum? Or where was it, where you come from? How did you get to know photography? And then she wanted to know you better. And then I sort of opened up with her. And then our journey went all the way up. All the shows that she did, the ancient recording that she did at Market Theatre, I photographed that. I would just go out of my way to find out where she is, and I will always document it. I have just gallons of images of her up to this day.
And obviously, Siphiwe, as a photographer, you sort of develop a sense of how to work with a certain person. You work differently with different people. So the Sibongile Khumalo we know on stage, and the Sibongile Khumalo we know through her music. How different was she from the Sibongile Khumalo in person? And how difficult or how easy was it to work with her?
Sibongile is very strict, though. This is one thing that even friends around her, people like Abu Sisnom Sam Manaka will say, hey, when you work with Sibongile, don't do this, don't do that, Tsepo will also advise her daughter, Ayanda, and Ayanda will be there before anything happens, and then will give you a brief with Baba Esh. Don't be too destructive when she's on stage. Sure. She's be on a space where she can, and then she will be acceptable. You will see that you will produce good images. But if you start irritating her, she will discipline you on the spot. But I learned that skill from her. And then also she helped you to develop and then understand how to photograph these images. Because these are people that are professionals. When they're on stage, they are working. So you just have to respect that they do. And then you don't have to interrupt it in any way that you can. But I learned a lot. Like I said, she's very protective. She's born on the same day as my son on the 24th of September, which is Heritage Day. So there's never a missing of a birthday wish between the two of us. Every year it stays like that. When my children are born, she will be there to wish them happy birthday and all of that stuff.
Wow, Siphiwe, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for sharing your fond memories of this jazz great with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Well, that was Siphiwe Mhlambi talking to us about his fondest memories and moments with the late Mam Sibongile Khumalo, who passed away earlier this week.